Hello and welcome back. How to make a dialog editor window. So last time we made the dialog editor window, so now we're gonna make the dialog graph view. So let's open that one up. No, not make. We are going to clean it up and add some comments. So here we call it style sheet name. So I'll actually just go back here and copy paste the graph view because let's just copy this one here and just go to the end of it and go here. So now it's just named graph view style. And again, we add some kind of useless comments like this is the name of the graph view style sheet. This is again kind of like pointing at a stop sign, going this is a stop sign. That is why I kind of stopped doing this type of comment on here and here, just because they weren't really that useful. And then for some reason over here in my notes, I have rearranged some of the stuff. Interesting. I actually moved this one up here. I don't know. Have I? Yeah. I guess it doesn't matter. Let's just do that. Here we add the ability to zoom in and out in the graph view. So it's literally called setting up zoom. But I think it was alright because I had to sit a moment and going, I have no idea what's going on here. So that was really nice. And also again, this is again a little more useless comment that we're adding the style sheet to the graph view. But I made it so it's in there now. And next up, those here are a little more useful, as the ability to drag nodes around, the ability to drag all selected nodes around, the ability to select a rectangle area, and the ability to select a single node. It makes it a little easier to actually understand what's going on here. So, that's something. And here we just have explanation on what exactly is going on here. We just add a visible grid to the background. Don't really need more explanation on this one. And again, this is we're going to add another comment here that again more or less is useless, because it's literally called add search window, and we're going to add a one called add a search window to the graph view. So the only knowledge we are giving is this one here, but because we are in the graph view, it could be kind of explained that we are going to add it to the graph view since we are in the graph view. So yeah, comments my best quality. All right, the next up we have all the where we can where we calculate what port can connect to what port. First, we are telling it this is a graph view method that we are overriding, meaning this one is specific to graph view, meaning that this is not something we made ourselves. This is something we are overriding. Oh, sorry. This is where we tell the graph view which node uh, can connect to each other. Oh, that's beautiful. All right, so down here, I think I added a pretty good explanation to this part here, because it took me a second to actually go, what's going on here. So first we're first we tell it that it cannot connect to itself. Then we tell it it cannot connect to a port on the same node. Lastly, we tell an input node cannot connect to another input node, and an output node cannot connect to an output node. Now, as you can see, we're actually doing that right here, but it's not really that readable, in my opinion. We could start doing stuff like this, but Let's just make it look ugly. But it's pretty much up to you what you want to do on this part here, as long as it's readable for yourself. And then I'm just gonna copy paste this first. And here we set all the ports that we can connect to, meaning that it's just gonna find all the ports, and then it's gonna find the start port. The start port is, so let's see, we are going in here. Let's just have it load, because I keep saving. So what exactly does this mean? Well, when we click add choice and we hold over here and we the start port is when we click down here. This is the start port in the session is the one that we are selecting, so it knows, oh, this is the start port, and all the other ports it's then trying to connect to. Oh, that actually could be a connection. Just gonna cancel that one. Just yeah, that's fine. So that is the start port, and we're of course going to look through all of the ports and see if we can find any. I hope that makes sense. And then here at the end, we just return all the acceptable ports. So all the ports that it found that we can connect to, we're then returning it, and then it will try to connect to those ports. So later on, we might actually also add the ability to add a color in here that will check if the same color. That way we can have different ports that can only connect to specific ports, but that will be for a later video. And the language reload. I actually renamed that, so let's just take that rename and right click and call it reload language, and that's because it's calling reload language in the dialog node. So I decided, let's actually just name them similar, and that will make it a little bit easier to to know what it's doing, because they're named the same. So we know when we call reload language, we are recalling reload languages in the dialog nodes. Of course, right now it's only dialog node that has any languages in it. But that will probably change at some point. And then I decided to make all of those down here smaller, because we could just go return and go and just return. And in the end, I think this was actually better. I also decided to, instead of going pot, just adding possession, because why make it smaller and more confusing when we could just name it exactly what it is? And again, this is a choice. I just found it that it's so little that you remove that you might as well just call it what it is. And again, that's up to people, and the PO, the POS, if you write this, it is commonly accepted that means possession. Normally, if you write that, people will instantly know that means possession, but I'm just gonna go, you know what? Possession is possession. And then we clean this part up here. We're going to save, and I'm gonna look at my notes and say, yeah, that is pretty much it for here. And of course, this is also a little refresher of what we actually been doing. And I could probably add a lot more notes, but I have literally no idea what to write. So we are going to jump. Oh, let's just go. Of course, I click saved. And we're gonna go into the node search window. So let's go into node search window. I'm just gonna click my notes fast. Yes. So first up, I renamed the pic, that stands for picture, into by just icon image, because it is an icon image. And then next up, I went in and added the scene. The icon image that we kind of don't use, because we kind of don't use it. However, we use it to create space left of the text, And then I added a to-do, literally try to find a better way. Right now it's we're using it for something it's not supposed to be used for, but it does what we want it to do. And then of course we are going to rename those here. There we go. As you can see. Oh, did we actually do that up here? We did not. So let's just quickly do that. Node. Yep. All right, let's go back. All right, goody goody. And let's see, this is this looks right. This one down here, I kind of had no idea what to add to nodes in here, because we're just creating the the create search tree, then we're adding a search tree entity, and then we're adding the entities into it. And I think this was rather readable, because I was not confused at what was going on here. We're adding the search tree node, then we are adding the first dialog node. Actually, I renamed some of those. I can see. I actually renamed this into dialog editor in the top, and I added dialog node as a choice because you're going into the dialog nodes. That's kind of the only thing I really did here. And of course, I renamed those here, so they are back to what we are going to make it it's supposed to be. So, and also this one here, and this one here. Oh, and let's just go through this one here. We add the node search. The node search we name it what it's supposed to do, and when you click it, what it's supposed to do. So when you click this, well, it's going to return a start node, and on the return start node is of course going to load check for node. Oh, let's just see. It is going to check for this one here, and this is pretty much on select. So when we select, it's going to. Oh, let's just make this a little more readable. There we go. And actually, let's add the comment I have. And that's the another comment. Alright, so it gets the mount position on the screen, and now we use that mouse position to calculate where it is in the graph view. So it's going to get the mouse position minus the dialog editor position. So let's just go into the editor. So it's going to take the position where it is on the screen. So let's say that the dialog editor is in 0.0 right here, and the mouse is in 1010. However, if we then is a million miles away, it's the dialog editor is probably minus 1000, and the mouse is like 1010. It's going to calculate the position where it is inside the dialog editor window. Its position on screen in there. It is a little hard to wrap my own head around exactly what's it doing, but it works. That's probably the most horrible explanation. It works. Don't think about it. And down here we are, of course, going to rename this into actually position. There we go. Just gonna make sure it's spelled correctly. It seems like that. And that is the dialog search node. Yep, that seems acceptable. Alright. So now we have those two fixed. We will then, in our next episode, we will go into the dialog container. Let's actually just have a quick look at it now. Because right now we are using my port to save, which is actually a rather big error on my expense, because that means that we need to have the dialog editor. And this part here, as long as we have this part here, we cannot we cannot play, we cannot enter play mode when the game is built um, with using this. No, it means that we cannot build the game because it's a the Unity editor must not be part of the built game. It is a thing that they decided to do, so to make sure that when you make a game, all your editor tools cannot be a you cannot I don't know, it's called you cannot get access to those inside the game. Uh, and that is a way to make sure that people can't just go in a multiplayer game and start editing weapons because they're not a part. They're not supposed to be part of the game editor tools. I hope that makes sense. And we're just gonna end the video here. And thank you for watching.